This is going to be a quick intermediate guide to aigis. I'm not the greatest in the world at her, but I do feel like I know her enough to where I can give some examples of how things work. I know a lot of people are picking her up. I am pretty bored at work right now. I'm trying to kill time, so we're going to go ahead and go through every single one of her buttons, some of her matchups, pressure strings, and other things like that that should be pretty useful when it comes to learning her. We're going to start off with her 5A and 2A, along with their auto combo. Her 5A is kind of stubby, but it's pretty fast. Her 2A is pretty stubby too, but it's also fast. 5A is 5 frames, 2A is 7. It's great because when it comes to punishes, you can get them without eye beating. So Megiddo, -5 on block, you just mash 5A and punish stuff like this. So it's pretty great, really useful, obviously very useful for stagger pressure. And it's also pretty useful in and out of orgia. So instead of just going for the normal mix, you can go for stagger. So you're gonna have to get used to me saying that everything on this character is good, because just about everything on this character is good. She's pretty bonkers. The second part of her auto combo is good because it's jump cancelable, and it allows for really good mix-ups because of that. Oddly enough, it allows for a triangle jump, which is stupid as well. We'll get into that later as well. But the second part can also be one more canceled into another mix, which is great because now you have a free overhead. The third part is an overhead. So if you let it rock, you'll get an overhead, and sometimes that lets you complete your auto combo into the full auto combo because the person gets hit by the last hit. This is also something that could be turned into a triangle jump. Her auto combo is really useful for the mode change combos, which are extremely important. You have a couple ways of doing it, along with a couple signs of when you can actually get the confirm, or at least when to try going for the confirm. So first, let's go ahead and show it. This is going to be the mode change combo. Mode change combo is a little bit hard to do just because of the way that the J2B and JB is just like, it's really tight. The ways that I like to pick it up is either waiting for the machine gun to go down or the wall bounce. Either one really works. But the moment you have to dash and J2B. So guns go down, and then you get the kick in. I can't even talk and do it at the same time. It's really tight, but if you lab it a lot, you get it a lot more consistently. 5B, pretty good button. It can be used 3 times in a combo, so you can pretty much stagger it. That way you can get more pressure off. It is a projectile, so Junpei can bat it. And it's just a large hitbox. Nothing too special about it. Good part is it distances you pretty well for some other combos. So like, let's say if you JB and then 5B, you can now just go behind them. So it's good for distancing, good for a combo thriller, good for creating ambiguity under pressure. So it's something that you throw out often, but it's not something you just throw out in neutral just to start something. It leads into sweep really well, but other than that, nothing too special. Alright, so we're going to talk about TB. It is a god button. It's honestly an S tier button. It stops any approach from the air. It can be rolled really easily, so you can get punished if they decide to roll it. But otherwise, if they're in the air, they pretty much can't approach you. You want to push this button, but practically anytime they jump, unless they're jumping in at you from a close range, like Labrish trying to instant air dash with JB. But the funny part is that Junpei doesn't get a persona, so he kind of just sits there T-posing for no reason, because 2B is just that good. 2B is also a 7-framer. Really good button. You could use it in your combos, or you could just use it as pressure. So like, let's say if you are trying to get a knockdown, and then it allows you for some pretty nice setups. So really useful button, really strong, crushes Adachi persona, crushes every persona. The only persona that it doesn't crush is probably Kanji's when he charges at you, because he will just eat it, and then he'll get a full punish on you. So you don't want to throw this out too much, because then people will start rolling it and you'll just get absolutely crushed. But you do want to throw it out enough to where they have to respect you. So it's one of the worst habits for an aigis player, literally the worst habit, where we just 2B. Like, I've seen Koichi run out of bullets and still 2B, so you just need to be careful about throwing it out like an animal. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and talk about all three. We're going to do JA, JB, J2B. All very fast buttons, all crazy. JA, multi-hit button. If you are going to try to like dash in with it, you definitely want to delay it, that way you can get the combo, because if you do it too fast, you don't get the combo. But if you delay it a little bit, then you get the combo. So you pretty much usually only fly in with this in orgia if you're trying to get to someone quick, just because it's a 6-frame button, or if they're trying to anti-area, that's an option too. So it's just a really good air-to-air. For just about all the air converts, you want to Megiddo afterwards. So it's just really, really, really useful for starting your pressure. So if Yukari's up here, it's just like an easy convert. You can also go into like other buttons from it. So pretty useful in orgia pressure as well, which we'll get into that a little bit later. Otherwise, great anti-air button, very fast button. JB is same way, it's an overhead, so you pretty much use it to get in. It's going to be one of your most used buttons. It hits from behind pretty well, it hits from the front, and it's just great for everything pretty much. You don't really want to use it as an air-to-air, it's mostly an air-to-ground, but it opens up a lot of options. It's just a really strong button that you're going to be going in with a whole lot, just because it's pretty fast, hard to react to. J2B, it's kind of useful. It's kind of good for, like, let's say if you were trying to do stagger pressure. You could do something like this, where you go 5A, 2A, 5A, and then get like a JB at the very end. It's really weird too. It has a vacuum effect. I don't know why, but it has a vacuum effect. It's also a good round start, because you just jump back to JB, and anyone who's trying to approach you usually gets hit by it, and it automatically knocks down. And I guess that's one more attribute that's kind of important. It is just most of your combo ender. So just a little soft knockdown. You can also use your auto combo and just end right here. So, and then you can do whatever pressure you want. Good button, not really used in everything, but it's good enough. Does its job. Alright, let's talk about 5C. It's a really good button. It's huge. You don't want to just throw it out wildly, but it's still a really strong button. So it's pretty much the get the fuck away from me button. What's good about it is that there's a few things. One, if you don't have orgia, the 5C, H2TC, Gatling gun. It can also be displaced, and then you can keep displacing it. It's great. Another thing is, if you hit somebody in the corner with it, you can get a combo. You can do whatever you want from there. You could also do this version. But there's a few other things you can do with it. It's really nice. It's just a big button. It's a little bit slower, so sometimes if you catch people at the end of their roll, you can like launch them away. But the main issue is that people do roll it. So if you get caught rolling this shit, you're dead. But if you're just trying to get someone away from you, again, you're gonna get punished on that sweep, by the way, so don't do that. But 5C, Q2C, really good. Get away from me. For 222C, you don't want to just throw it out, ever. It's just combo extender. So if you did this, for instance, then it just extends a combo. So that's pretty much all it is. It just extends a combo. or it lets you 2-2-2C after 5. You see, it's fatal, so it allows you to get your most damaging fatal combos. It is not a great anti-air in any way, shape, or form, just because it's pretty slow. It's hard to really just hit people with this on their approach. But it's a funny around start, and again, it's just how you get your motor loops. So, really important. And you just want to pretty much make sure to use it on DPs and on whiff DPs, or just any button that whiffs that's long enough. Alright, let's talk about 5D now. 5D is a great tool to cover your approach. Good because you can do it and then do missiles, or if Labrys wants to chain knuckle you, she can't anymore. It also helps against Nayato's bullets, Yukari's arrows. It's really good. It's also really good because it helps you disjoint. So if you want to disjoint 5C, 2-2-2C, you gotta keep doing it again. It's kind of like kanji. The 2 version is kind of garbage. It just comes down if they hit it. A lot of the times it misses though, so I don't recommend it. It's good, I guess, if you're in the corner and you have to use it, but like it's just so inconsistent that it's just not worth using, honestly. Use it sometimes, I don't know, maybe there's a use for it, I don't know it. Another thing with 5D, you have to be a little careful because it can be broken afterwards. So this is a really good way to lose your persona cards if you just throw it out wildly. So you really want to make sure that you're protecting her as much as she's protecting you. Now we're on JC, Aigis' best button, the God button. It hits one time if you just go forward and up a little bit. It hits 2 times. It hits 2 times in the air, of course. And it's just really easy to confirm. And it's going to be really easy to air-to-air people with, like Yukari, if she's all the way at the very top. You pretty much always want to Mojito after it. Or you can even super. So it's really good for everything, but you don't want to throw it out every single time. You want to sometimes mix it up with JA, sometimes with JB, and just throw this out a lot. Because JA, since it's a little bit faster, catch people who are trying to 2B you. So, like, since every aigis flies forward, a lot of people will just be ready for you, especially Labrys, because she can just hold 2B. So you want to use it sparingly, or frequently, but you do want to mix it up. You don't want to get too predictable with it. It's awesome because, 1, it lets you continue your pressure, and 2, it's really essential for triangle jumping. It is not an overhead though, so it's just a left-right. But it's great because it's easy to confirm stuff off of, has a good amount of hits done. And again, it gives you so many opportunities to set people up for like different mixes. Like even the easiest mix, which is just this, will hit a lot of people. It's just fast. So just like 1 frame slower than Ken JA. Otherwise, it's just an absolutely crazy button. There's a lot of ways to use it, but you're going to be using it more than probably any other button besides maybe JB. Let's talk about JC when we're not in Orgia. It's really good as an approach option because you can pick up with JA, and if you're good, you can get a mode change combo, usually with like 2A, 5B, and then 2C. You can also air turn and get that too. So it's really nice because you can get a hard knockdown off, like doing, or not a hard knockdown, a soft knockdown, and then start your pressure again. That's really going to be your main use if you're not in Orgia, because you can't really do too much out of Orgia. Now we're at J2C, big button. It's kind of like Minazuki, where you can turn around and do it. You're usually using this for combos, or I guess if you really want someone to get away from you, you can use it to get them to the wall. Otherwise, you're not going to be using this unless you are doing this combo specifically. or just anything in the corner. A JD, J2D, really quick, does the same thing as normal JD, it's just in the air. Can displace as well, nothing too special here. You're not going to use this very much, just because there's really no reason to use it in the air since you kind of want to be in the air. Generally, if you're going to use 5D, you want to use it down here and then go up, or you want to use it and then use missiles. So up here, not really useful because you're not covering yourself down here. Maybe there might be a use for it versus Yukari up here. Actually, I should probably try that out, but usually you're not going to use it. Her grab isn't anything. Her grab, nothing too special, but you can LMC it into a mode change, which is nice. So out of Orgia, you don't really get much. Same thing with air grab, you don't really get much. It just knocks him to the wall. It's funny, because you can do this. But otherwise, it's not too crazy out of Orgia. So, the awesome part is that you can cancel it. So normally with Megiddo, it's 2-3-6-D for that, right? But you can cancel it. So if you do 2-3-6-6 and then D after the explosion, you get a little follow-up without using Orgia meter. So we're full. And now we don't use very much Orgia. We don't have to OMC, and you're pretty good. You can do this in the air too. And if you want, you can even do it with a mode change combo. I'm not going to do it because I'll fuck it up. But it's actually pretty nice. So you definitely want to learn it. I feel like it's extremely useful because the last thing people expect you to do when you're doing your dumbass flowchart pressure is to grab. And then you get like a little follow-up after it. So that's always nice. Sweep, it's just really good. It's long, it's unsafe on block, but it's pretty fast. It is 12 frames, and what's nice is once you get your knockdown, is usually when you want to switch to Orgia, is now you get a free mix for getting a simple sweep. So you sweep, you can air dash, you can sweep, go for sort of a triangle jump, because when you mode change, you can go around them like that. I don't usually use that too often. I know some people like Hero do. It's really good. It's just not something it's just a little unnecessary because once you sweep and just do this, it's like who's really blocking that unless you're I guess you're superhuman. But otherwise, in Orgia, it is her best starter, in my opinion. That isn't like a fatal starter because you can get stuff like double mortar combos, which do a fuck ton of damage. So that off of a single sweep is crazy. And you can also do it in situations like this, where you use missiles and then get the combo. In the corner is when it's really good too, because you can get really high damaging combos like this. Literally 4.6k off of a sweep. And if you do it with missiles, which is also really strong, you're definitely breaking the 5k damage threshold. This has to be the easiest 25 meter 5.6k in the game. I don't know why it's like this. I just work here. Without Orgia, you don't really get anything. I guess you can, Japanese players sometimes do sweep or cancel, which is an option too. If you're trying to be in pressure, what Japanese players sometimes do is they just continue to pressure with one more sweep. Awesome button, but it's just a little bit unsafe sometimes. In Orgia, you can always jump cancel with this if it's just like, it's really strong. Let's talk about her DP. Her DP pisses people off because it puts her in a really weird spot in the air to where some characters have a harder time punishing it, but you're gonna get fataled. It's really awkward, but it gets you a mode change, which is great. However, players know that you want that mode change, and I guess players are DP monsters. So you generally want to make sure that you're doing it at a safe spot, or at least where it's worth it. If you're really low and someone's looking at your meter, they might see the DP coming. Like, really good players will be like, oh, they're really low on Orgia, they're going to DP. So you generally want to use this when your Orgia is slightly low or you just want people away from you. You can force people into really stupid situations. Stupid situation 1. Super Shield. The typical super cancel. Everyone does it. It's just great with meter if you need to get away. LMC it, because if you're out of Orgia and then you super, you can just do stuff like that. Stupid option number 2, you can grab them. You want to do this if you know that they mash buttons. This will get you blown up by 2B or DP. So if you have a Labras and they're 2Bing or DPing, you will lose. Players look for this now because we have been using this quite a lot. You don't use the A version. A version is dog shit. If you feel like the person catches on, because a lot of times you'll notice them just crouching because they're going to 2B you, just go over. They're usually pretty safe. If they have a full screen super, prepare to eat a fatal, but sometimes it's just worth the risk. So we're going to go over the obvious special, the mode change one. You have 2-2A. This does not exhaust you, but 2-2B will if you shut it off. You really want to use 2-2A to go into your mode changes if you are safe. Most of the time, when you are mode changing, you want to be safe, so the best way to do it is 2B, mode change. If you are close to them and you get a sweep, you want to use 2-2B because it allows you to continue your pressure, because if you sweep, then you're actionable. Usually, people go for this, and if you use 2-2A, you're not. You're just going to get punished. So definitely use 2-2A to go in and out of mode change. And if your bar is less than halfway, and you really feel like you're safe, like let's say the person is far away, the persona broken, or they're just not an aggressive player, just exhaust yourself. There are a few combos that let you go in and out of Orgia by 2-2A and 2-2B, but we'll get into that a little bit later once we go through Orgia stuff. 2-2A, 2-2B. Again, 2-2B, you can cross up. It's nice. You just want to be really careful. Also, players watch your gauge, so they know when you're going to mode change. If you're full screen, and Minazuki is full screen, and he sees that you're low, he's going to disjoint you and get you into a fatal for like 4.5. And if you're facing MBM, he's going to do this shit, and just sit there, and you're going to mode change into it. So be really careful, because people definitely do pay attention to your Orgia meter, and they know when you're going to mode change. Sometimes it's honestly just best to keep using Orgia and run out. Because honestly, aigis in her base form, she's good enough to defend herself. Like, you still have your fast buttons, you still have your pressure, you have hops, you have everything that you need, so you don't always need to be in Orgia, and that's a bad thing because a lot of players, including myself, will let Orgia dictate how they play. So you really don't want to just absolutely crush into the mode changes, because that will get you blown up into most fatals. We're going to talk about AB mode change very fast, and you can get a safe jump off of it. So if you do this, it's a safe jump. It's really nice because it gets you out of some situations. Like, let's say Axis is beating your ass in the corner. It's like, oh no, I can't mode change. I can't roll. Because you'll get blown up, right? Well, what you can do is, in stuff like this, you can get punishes by going invincible. I think there's a few frames where you can't get hit, and in certain situations it can be useful. Obviously, in this one you have to time it, but it's super useful. Alright, we're at the very last part, the bullet discussion. We are playing Touhou now. I guess we have motors too, we'll talk about that in a second. But, for all the bullet variations, this is A, which only shoots a few times. B, you can hold. AB is just really fast, so if it's like a 1 HP situation, you throw out this, and throw out this, sometimes they'll get hit. You have A version of this, which is pretty sick. B version, which goes further. If you hold the buttons, you fall, but if you just hit the button once, you don't. A version is good for stopping approaches. B version is just good for zoning like Yosuke. The AB version is split. So you do this, you do this. It's good because you get a knockdown. It's mostly used in combos, used for zoning, things like that. So if someone's rolling your 2B and you're getting hit, then instead of going for 2B every time, mix it up. Throw in a Gatling gun. If they try to roll, then you just hold B and you can catch people who are rolling. Only the first bullet matters when it comes to proration, so everything after like this won't scale your combo more. You can cancel it in a spear, which isn't useful at all, but it's just something to know. But it's really just good for zoning. Normal bullets. Again, you are using it in your combos most of the time. So that's pretty much the main purpose. Another attribute which is really good is that if you're in a corner for any reason, like let's say you use Megiddo, and you're in the corner, you can air turn and use the A version and go over. You have to hold it though. You can use the B version, which is good too. It's also good for non-orgia pressure. So like let's say if you are doing this, and I can't view my strings apparently. If you're doing this, you can hop and then cancel it. So it's really good. Definitely use it a lot. Just be wary of your bullets, but if you're not very good at orgia yet, you can use it to keep people away for a bit. Or you can finish people off at 5C, 2C. So, definitely amazing buttons, amazing projectile, and it just beats out a lot of things like Yukiko's fans. Megiddo is really great because if someone's in the air, you can just 2B and the Megiddo. You can 5C Megiddo. You can 2A Megiddo. 5B Megiddo. Sweep Megiddo. You're usually gonna sweep. You get 5B Megiddo, and you can do just about every button besides maybe like J2C off of Megiddo. Megiddo is -5 in block, so if they do not have a fast enough button, you can. Alright, let's change it to block here. But if they don't have a fast enough button, like Teddy, I think doesn't have a fast enough button, and I don't think Margaret does because her buttons are 7 frames. But you can just grab after it. You can be after it. If they have a slow button, you can like still do moves. Another cancerous option is one more cancel. I really wish this worked, but it does not. So yeah, you have a few options after Megiddo. SP version is plus, so mash away. And that's just about it, mostly. It's mostly combo filler. You can use it in neutral if you're degenerate, but you really don't want it too much because if you're versus someone like Narukami, they can 5AU and do a punish. Or the counter to this is you can IB it. So if you IB, obviously you have more frames to react. So you're gonna get blown up if someone IBs it. Don't throw this out too much, but it's a nice surprise factor because if someone is just IBing in all the time, just hit them with Megiddo. What are they gonna do about it? Another thing that's stupid is that sometimes it crosses over. So the B version crosses over, the C version does not, the CD version does. A big meme, and I've seen people, someone did this at Japanese Evo, flying. It's so dumb. But if you fly forward, air turn, and then enter the input backwards, you could just like fuck with people in Megiddo. It's funny. Missiles are fucking great. You do this, you go in, do this, you can go low, you can go for a JB triangle jump, you can go for air dash, and I'm sure there's more options, but it's just so good. You can go for sweep as well, and get like a sweep starter. So this is the normal version. What's great is that you can use it on an Oki. Obviously, they recover fast enough, so there are some combos you can do, like this, that makes it so they can't tech out of it. You can do stuff like this, which is really annoying. where you can make them tech into missiles. And they're just a really great option. For the V version, you're usually using this to catch people who are jumping your missiles. You can get them in hit stun and JC them. The funny part about this too is that if they do, let's say they're blocking, alright, you usually get a side switch. It's really weird, but you do. So if you do get the side switch, which I'll go ahead and try to demonstrate here one more time. Like, why? I don't know. It's just so good. And then you have this version, which when you're in the air, it goes downwards as well. This is great because what you can do is you can use shield, mode chains, missiles. The SP version, you don't really want to use in the air too much because like they're just gonna go below you and hit you. Usually you want to leave a little gap when you're using this version, that way they can't. But generally, if you're going to use this version, you're going to use it on the ground, because a lot of people will try to jump over your missiles, and they'll try to do a move, but they'll come down to a bunch of missiles. This is also a fatal starter, which is great too. So if you roll it, you're going to get stuffed. And now, you're stuck in motor loops, and it's great. So you definitely want to use this almost whenever you want. It's resourceless, and I think it's gapless if you just JB on the way in. Important thing about missiles is you can one more cancel if something comes out, but like, you just want to be really careful, because if you do those out all the time, it's like, you're just gonna get supered. So just be really safe with that. Alright, let's talk about Goddess Shield. It's really, really, really good. It is a very great reversal, and it's really hard to hit you out of it. This is the fast version. This is the A version. I'm sorry, the C version. This is the slow version, which is the D version. And this is the SP version, which comes back, hits twice. Great knowledge check if you just want to win the game and scrub someone out. You definitely don't want to just throw it out though. A lot of meter for very little reward if they block it. Or if they roll it, you're just gonna get fucked. You don't really want to use this D version that much like in normal hits, because this is the C version, right? It connects. This is a D version. It does not. You do combos like this, then it will connect. But generally, if you get a straight hit, and you're trying to win the game, just go for the normal version. It also gives you a nice corner carry, which is great. For the SP version, the double-sided version, it tends to whiff. I don't recommend it. Like, let's say you're doing something like this, right? One, it's hard to hit the spear after it, because generally, you want to hit the shield, and then you want to spear, right? Well, it's a little hard to do that with this version. You can still use a spear, but the problem is that for some reason, characters drop when using this version. So unless you lab your combos, I don't recommend using it too much. But you can use it after 5B with pretty decent consistency. So if you do 5BB, feel free to use it. It's perfectly fine. Spear, great reversal. I think it's plus on certain things. Spear, great. Alright, let's get to Spear. Great reversal. D version, -7, but it hits multiple times. C version is +4. I do not think you can combo. No, you can't combo off of this version because it comes up too fast. In Shadow Frenzy, you can, but not a normal aigis because she's lame. The multi-hit one, you can mode change and catch it. So mode change, catch it, you got a combo, and it's burst safe. Or you could just do, like, just normal multi-hit. You can also jump and catch it. So yeah, it's really nice. It's a great super. The only problem is that people roll this shit, so... If you get rolled, you're gonna get blown up. Someone can also jump over you. So if we're already jumping over you, you're gonna get your ass beat. Good players will do that. They know you're gonna use it because it's so good. So you really want to use it when you know that someone is jumping in at you. So like something like just when you know they're unsafe. Like let's say Narukami's using dive, you can really fuck him up with just a C-spare. And then the SP version, same shit, does more damage, it's just like D-spare. You could chain them together too, do like this. But they have to be towards the ground. A little bit hard. Because the timing is tight. I think you can do it a little bit easier like this, but I generally don't bother. You could do C version and a D version, but don't do that. Just do Goddess Shield into this version. One more thing is that when you grab, you can super. So that's pretty useful too. Same with the air. So it's just great super. Our supers are all good. They're all useful. I guess the air super is semi-useful, but I mean, if they're in the air, they can't really do anything versus it. And sometimes you can just walk up, surprise people, and then you get this. And they're in the wall, it's your turn. Concluded all of the specials and all of the supers. Wait a minute. What's this? This is super, yeah. It's pretty funny. It's a meme super. But it's still pretty funny. So in this mode, when you're exhausted, have no bullets in 150 meters, nothing costs extra orgia. And normally, hover would burn through your meter. It does not as much. You kind of only have a few moments to shine, but this is instant. This is instant. It auto corrects, which is funny as hell. One more thing is you're just projectile invuln too. So let's say you have someone shooting missiles at you. It's a meme. It's a lot of resources, but it can be funny. The great part is that it regens your health. So we'll start out at 1 HP, right? Your health regens, your projectile invuln. Oh, that should be regenerating. Oh, okay, apparently it doesn't regen in practice mode. What a good practice mode. Or it's probably me doing something dumb. Either way, your health regens, you do more damage, you get your bullets back. Look down here, you get your bullets back, 120 again. That way you can obviously go for the second exit, right? Oh, that's another funny thing too. So, same thing, missiles don't cost extra. You can use it as many times in the match as you want. So let's say you use it right, and you gold burst someone, just use it again, why not? Who's stopping you? Alright, let's talk about non-orgia. What do we want to do? If you're exhausted, you are zoning until you get it, or you can go in and just wait until you do have it. She's, again, very useful without it. Your auto combos, you want to go for the mode changes, whenever you can. Or you can go for the baby mode one, get a knockdown, and then just orgia. Sweep orgia is something you also want to do too, so a lot of people will just do and then switch. In the corner, you have mode change combos, which are great as well. I'll go over those combos too, but you're mostly just trying to look into keeping them at bay until you have orgia, or you can actually just honestly still kill them, because you're still a character without it. Like, you aren't like Margaret without cards, you aren't Ken without your dog, you are still as much of a character as Sho is. So you pretty much can play keep away, you can zone people out, and you can still just mix people, honestly. Her main mixes, are going to be IAD backdash, so air turn, dash, which is really good to get in. You can do this, this. Your stagger pressure is mostly going to be, or at least your strings, usually just going to be a mix of 5A, 2A, grabs. You're pretty much just strike through at this point. The normal combo string and mid screen, if you're just trying to get them away from you, it is just this. Get them the fuck away. Or if you're trying to go for pressure, 5A, 2A, 5A, and then something like this. So you can do that. Obviously, you have your one more cancel. Hop is really good. So like let's say 5A, 2A, 5A. Hop, JC. Let's say you land after your pressure, hop JC, right? You have a mode change combo. 3.3k, pretty good for a mode change.
Not bad. Not bad.
There's another small thing with rising and falling JB that you can get a jump cancel off of it, which is pretty fun. So something like this, and you could jump cancel. You can use nades. You have some really nice stuff you can do, honestly. Another thing, you do that. There's just lots of options. So your goal is practically just to get Orgia back, or to kill without Orgia. Do whatever you want, develop your own playstyle, everyone's different. I like to zone more, Hero likes to go in without it. D-Star is all around a crazy aigis, so he can do whatever he wants and all work. But it really just depends on what you're doing. I feel like my style is the weakest out of the three, because I just like to zone most of the time. I'll go in a little bit, but if you have 120 bullets, why not use them? So it's up to you how you want to play it. You just want to make sure that you aren't going too crazy out of Orgia, because you're still not as much of a character as like Shabris, or like any other character that's crazy. It's really difficult versus characters like Ken, for instance, because you want a mode change, but their dog is hitting you out of it. So you just want to be really careful. This is where your neutral actually matters. With Orgia, your neutral barely matters. But without Orgia, you just want to be really careful. You want to be mindful of your mode changes. You want to make sure that if you are mode changing, you are throwing at this or this. And you want to make sure that you are air dashing, just having good movement. Like, you don't really want to stay still too much. You just want to be fast on your feet, because you do have a lot of options, and you can actually just play keep away forever. Like, she's still fast. Alright, so we have Orgia, what everyone considers a broken mode. Meter management, very important. The one thing that burns meter management is backdash. Why does it do it? Because it's really fucking good. If you get knocked down, you can just wake up backdash most of the time. Like, you'll usually be safe. So it's just great. Like, wake up backdash. It's a crutch, but it's a really good one. You can go back, dash forward, things like that. It's just really, really, really good. Gets you out of so much pressure. You can do it 2 times in the air, and you just want to use this whenever you want to get away from people. You can do this and shoot. Do this and JC just to catch people coming in on you. It's just really, really, really good. There's no reason not to use it. Another thing is obviously boost forward. It's really good. You'll get too big. Try not to make it too obvious. You can definitely mix things up by air turning and going over people. You can boost after and go over people for surprises like that. Stuff that's really hard to block. It's just great in every situation. Another thing you can do is you can triangle jump. The input is jump, forward, forward, air turn. I like holding the button. If you tap it, sometimes you just slightly go over, and that's whatever, but you could fuck it up, you could botch it up pretty hard. So what I like to do is I hold it, that way you go further. And then you can also set yourself up for a nice sweep. how to use it. You definitely want to boost towards people and hit them with JB, JA. If they're in the air, obviously you want to catch them. One thing is, again, you want to be a little bit easy in the backdash as it burns your orgia. Repeated uses of boosts JB will burn a good amount of meter, so you also want to be pretty mindful of that. That's why during your strings you want to put some stagger in it. It's very important that your first jump in gets the job done, because if you keep flowcharting, then you're just going to keep burning through all your meter. So you just want to be really mindful of that. But it's really not hard to mix people. Like for instance, this will open up most people. This is a double overhead. Will open up everybody. This, you can just fake it and go low. If you're good, you can go lower for a safe jump as well. So you can just JB and still get the block down. That's something that some people do. I haven't really mastered it. And another thing that's really useful is when you jump and move forward, you boost. But that doesn't always mean you need to boost. You can jump forward and just tap it. And in orgia mode, you get much further jump distance. So let's say you barely jump, right? But with orgia, you jump further. So it's super useful to just play with your opponents. They think you only have 2 jumps, right? So they go for something, but then you go at a downwards angle. This is so fast. It's really hard to react to. So if you're just being really weird about things, you can usually just get in on people hitting buttons, and it's great. Another thing you can do is you can air roll. So now you can evade in the air. It is fast, and you can JC right after it. However, you can get DP'd out of it. So, and the DP will follow you. So, let's say you air dash, they'll follow you. So you need to be really careful versus things like Marie, where she has a giant DP that can hit you. Another thing is that you can get thrown. You want to be careful, right? Because if you're versus somebody who has a decent throw, like Liz, I think, or no, if you're versus let's say Shadow Chie. If you're versus Shadow Chie, she's gonna grab you and she's going to frenzy you. So you can be grabbed in the middle of it, if done correctly, unlike the way I'm doing. So just be really careful of that. But who's really throwing that besides Atarax? So you're fine, honestly. If you're in the corner, it's also a good tool to get out of the corner. You can do it right after 2-2-B, which is my favorite thing to do. The Affinity Classic, as Vibe calls it. So it's just really good. You can do dumb shit like this. Let's say you're in a block screen, right? You just do... Who's blocking that? You want to be careful, right? Because if you're versus somebody who has a decent throw, like Liz, I think, or no, if you're versus let's say Shadow Chie. If you're versus Shadow Chie, she's gonna grab you and she's going to frenzy you. Okay. So just be really careful of that. But who's really throwing that besides Atarax? So you're fine, honestly. If you're in the corner, it's also a good tool to get out of the corner. You can do it right after 2-2-B, which is my favorite thing to do. The Affinity Classic, as Vibe calls it. So it's just really good. You can do dumb shit like this. Let's say you're in a block screen, right? You just do... Who's blocking that? Another thing that you have is hover. You do this as many times as you want. It's useful for so many things. It's useful to bait out 2B. It's useful to just... It's a useful Oki tool. That's one thing too. Alright, you can do this. Hover. And then hit B on the way down. Another thing about hover is that you cannot be hit out of it. So you can get 2B'd out of it, definitely. But let's say you're up here, you can block it. It's fine, you can block stuff in the air. I don't know why you can. You shouldn't be able to, but you can, so that's pretty cool. Again, it is great for fatals and counters, because hover, 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 it's great. There's so many things you can do with it. It really opens up opportunities for play. Like, it's great. So it's something you want to use to bait out stuff. It uses a little bit more orgia, but it's not that bad. So here's an example. Really useful. On the triangle jump special, you can triangle jump off of anything that's jump cancelable. So AA, jump cancel. AAA, jump cancel. It's good for Oki, and you can also do JB. You can do JA. You can do pretty much just about anything. You can even go for a really cheeky triangle jump low, but for that you kind of have to do the tap version. If you hold it down, then you're a little bit too far. So you don't want to really do that too much. If you're going to hold it down, you just want to tap it. So, super useful. You can JB and triangle jump still. You can missiles, JB, triangle jump. So it's just really nice. You just can't do it off of JC again, obviously. But otherwise, it's super useful. Gonna go over mix. It's really easy, honestly. This is a flowchart mix. This will open up most people. If they start blocking that, start going overheads. Another thing you can do is you can just stay low. And of course, during your pressure, you could throw in 5 A's and 2 A's in there. Or you can just fake it. You could fake a JB and then just go low. Another thing is, of course, the air rolls. So, JB, stuff like that. Another option is the triangle jump. If you're going to triangle jump, you generally want to do it off of 5A, that way you can jump cancel it. If you do 2A, it becomes a little hard. So generally, JB, 2A, JB, 5A, and then triangle jump. You can also do auto combo triangle jump, so... Or you could do the third one, but sometimes you'll go over their head if they're crouching. So, 1, 2, 3. You can also do... Honestly, I like to fuck with people and just go for double sweep. So sometimes I'll just do this. But honestly, there's so much stuff you can do. 5B, JA, it's always really good. Let me just grab. Maybe get a cancel too. The triangle jumping, JB is great. And the thing is, when it comes to JB, is that when you try to confirm it, you buffer JB. So like, let's say you sweep, you just buffer it. So sweep. Because even if you sweep and you buffer JB, it doesn't matter if it hits them on block, because your pressure is still going. But if you do hit them, well, now you have a combo. You're pretty good. So honestly, I feel like there should be an encyclopedia for her mix, but her mix is pretty brain dead. It's like, you just do whatever you want, really. So just keep in mind that you could do a ton of things, even crazy stuff like this, where you air roll and triangle jump back. Yep. It's just a matter of not doing this and not being me. Another thing you can do too is during your mix, you don't have to commit. You can fall back in, fall back out. I've been working on doing this too. I'm just it's just very hard to keep in mind, especially when you're low in orgia. Again, every time you JB, you're using a lot of orgia, so you definitely want to try your options to get in. So aigis Oki is extremely good. I can't really think of anyone with better Oki besides maybe Ken, but it's really easy. You're mostly looking to hit them at their ankles when you safe jump. So let's go ahead and do a safe jump. That's usually safe. Let's go ahead and make sure it's safe. So you get lots of options, and if you catch someone DPing, you get the fatal for like 5 billion damage. Another option, hover meaty, pretty great. Another option, it's just a typical JB. Things that people don't expect you to do. They're just 2A meaty. That's always pretty good too. And then another option is you can super jump, air turn, and go through them. And then another is the missile meaty. They're not missile meaty, but missile Oki. That's always good too. And that's just about it. I guess if it's kanji, you can do like a JC safe jump kind of thing. That way you don't hit it. You're just falling JB, obviously. If you're fancy, you do the double JB. I can't do that without mashing, and I'm never confirming that, so I don't do it. But that's just about it for the Oki. There's probably more, but I'm just forgetting them. I guess if you want, you could literally just take people out with that. I like doing this in a corner. Like, let's say I'll do this, air turn, this, and then I'll get the pickup, do something cool. With that Orgia, her pressure is just usually just safe jumps. That's it. Nothing too special. Safe jumps. You could also fight, 2A Oki. Just immediate. That's about it. Nothing too special. I guess you could do like IAD or like back air dash for an Oki, but I don't really see the point. Another option is... So you have just a couple of options without Orgia. You have just a normal safe jump. I don't know if that's a true safe jump, I don't think it is. You can mode change out, and then if you need a mode change back in, you do the AB version. Or you can just go for QA. Oh, that'll work again. And then mode change back in. That's about it. And Orgia, Sweep Oki is pretty funny because you get a really good starter, but Sweep is a little bit slower. So, if they always expect you to go overhead, instead, you just wake up, sweep, and then get like a fat ass 5,000 damage combo. I guess game plan. Jump back, Orgia, get in on an opponent. Let's say B and B into triangle jump, catch it with 5A, drop them with 2B, air dash, and then you murder them. You still have room for a spear, but you can do that whole combo without awakening, and they're done. Obviously, it's not that easy, but okay, let's be honest, it kind of is that easy, depending on the player. But if you can maintain Orgia and be an Orgia almost at all times like that, you're just crazy. That's what makes Hero so good, is because he's really optimal at managing his Orgia, and he also has really optimal combos that do a fuck ton of damage. Let's do another game plan. JC opener. Good B. Edge. So that works too. We'll do one more, just because why not? JP starter. B and B combo. Missile Oki. Sweep combo. Mode change. Grab. Super. Spear. Last but not least, let's get to the combos. This is going to be the basic B&B. Good damage. And then of course you get your Oki, so you can keep doing it whatever you want. The next one is going to be the sweep. This is the go-to one that most people do. The one that I like, especially because you get easy double motors and mode changes, is sweep. So that does a lot of damage. If you want to do a mode change, this is going to be your easiest bet. And then you can always continue your pressure with something else. Another thing you can do is you can actually exhaust yourself. And look at your meter, it's almost back up. By the time to recover, you only have a few seconds until it's up. For JC confirms, you have Megiddo, 2V pickup, and then you have your Oak. Or you could do something like that. Another option is you want to end them. Just do SP Megiddo at the top. Holy fuck, that's a lot of damage off of the JC. I did not know it did that much damage. Well, that's a full meter dump. That's still a lot. You start off with sweep, you're going into damage town. You can't do 2 motors on this one if you're trying to meter dump. But it does a fuck ton of damage. But this is with double motors without a meter dump. The second part of 2C can hit during this one too. With Orgia, normal B&B is this. Alright, take a notice. 4.2k damage, right? If you do 5A instead of 2A, look at your damage now. You lose so much. So if you're gonna do a corner combo, do 2A. If you have issues with this confirm, the 2C, add a 5B. A little bit less damage, but it's easier to confirm. But 5C, 2C is always going to be the most optimal. So like if you do an AOA combo, that J2C does a lot of damage. Personal favorite is this version, where you use bullets, pick them up, super jump. And you're using 2-2A for that mode change. So 2-2A and then 2-2B. Because when you do 2-2B, it lets you become active faster. So like for instance, you did this. You can catch, so it's really good. This is by far my favorite mode change combo because it does everything. This is Grimalkin's. So air dash, jump cancel, mode change. He can do 2 motors. I cannot. He's an execution god. I just try to do shit that I can actually pull off online. So that's a great combo. It gives you 25 meter. It restores your orgia because you mode change out of it, and it's just an auto combo. You get your burst back and everything fast, so it's very good. Okay. There's another mode change combo that a lot of aigis players do that I do not. It is a little annoying because it needs a micro dash. You pretty much mode change after Megiddo and then pick up the JGB Ender, which is great if you want OK. For the corner, you have a few options. This is going to be the most common one for non-orgia. That's a motor, by the way. The second one is the full auto combo, so it looks something like this. I'm pretty sure you could do 222C mortar in that one, but that's not my route. It's pretty difficult to do, honestly, because of the air dash. So those are the main two. If you don't have meter, you can just do this. You can do stuff like that. Or you can just reset neutral and run back up. So my combos, which are technically Gunzo's combos, but I stole them and he stopped playing, so they're mine now, look something like this. In the corner, it looks like this. That's a mode change combo too, so it's really good. Not gonna lie, I don't know the normal mode change combos, but you could probably do something like this. I had to run under for that. Do keep in mind that you can, on S2 Megiddo, you can jump. If you're good, you can jump on one side and you'll stay in the corner. I mean, out of the corner, but I just like walking under, honestly. I don't know the standard corner sweep combo, but here's my combo. I'm pretty sure you can get a lot more using like a real combo, but yeah, that's usually what I go for. This is her normal fatal route that you want to go for every single time. It's honestly not that hard, but maybe you can get it after like maybe 5 minutes of labbing. Yeah, so super easy to do. A lot of damage, so just take like 5 minutes to lab it, and I'm sure you'll get it done. Fatal combos are a little annoying. So most of her fatals are 2C. You can, of course, just go for a sweep combo. Sweep is not a fatal, it's just a counter, I'm pretty sure. But if you 2C, 2-2A, you can pick up a JC, and then motor cancel. Although you can get a couple ones on the ground too. To do mortar cancels, you have to hover, motor, hover, motor. So you pretty much just enter the same thing. You could do 8 in the corner, and I think 8 mid-screen, but it's pretty hard. So generally, it looks something like this. Honestly, just go for 3. Like this does more than enough damage, so you don't even need to worry about it. Just go for 3. Don't worry about the extension. You get like only a couple hundred more damage for much harder execution. That's it for all the combos. Those ones you usually get you by. They're slightly execution heavy, or maybe pretty, I don't know. I've been doing this forever. But I'll link Hero's channel and Etheral's channel at the bottom. They have a ton of really good combos. I will also show Schad aigis now. He's really good. The problem is you just have to sync up orgia with your frenzy. And sometimes when they're low and their burst is coming back or something else is coming back, you're kind of sitting here soft cocking hand just waiting for them to actually do something. And then you have orgia back, then you can kill them. The good part is that she can kill you extremely easily. If you JC somebody, you're dead, like 99% of the time. So let's say you do this. You just nuked them for 6k off of a JC triangle jump. The great thing about Shadow Aigis is she gets access to really, really easy neutral fences. So, if you do this, neutral frenzy. That's pretty great. Those are the main things with her. Her auto combo is a little bit different. Problem is that this is not a good tool. 10 bullets, gone. Those are pretty important if you're doing this often. You can cancel it, which is nice. But you're not opening, like this is the end of your auto combo. So you technically don't have an auto combo for pressure like normal aigis. You're stuck doing this. It's awesome in certain situations, but it's not great in others. What's great about it is you can do this in mode change. You can also go for frenzies off of it. That's just about it though. I mean, other than that, it's just a normal combo. She does have a version where you do a full auto combo. Looks something like this. Problem with Shadow Aigis, that she's really reliant on motor combos. You get a lot of meter gain off of it, don't get me wrong, but that's a lot of effort. One thing that you can do, something like this. Or if you just want some meter. This builds a lot of meter too. So like let's say if we took off the meter. Okay, I'll slap that. Alright, let's say you took off the meter, right? 41 meter, it's pretty good because it's just another one of them and you're doing combo. The corner's the same. You have to... The corner's the same. But this right here is a neutral frenzy. So, really good. But it's kind of annoying because motor combos, this game eats your inputs pretty badly, so it's pretty hard. There's another way to get a neutral frenzy, and that is by hover canceling. It's also hard to do, and it looks something like this. And then you pursue your combo. And that's neutral as well. Okay, that's it. Everyone go home.